Welcome back. That's my body. That's my grunting. That's my leg. Welcome back. All right. Today, we're going to talk more about some bookstore thrift hauls. Thrift store book hauls. You know I never get that right. First thing that I picked up today, boom. Hugely excited. Favorite book of all. No, I'm kidding. Angels A to Z. I paid full price for it. I paid $4. It's probably worth two. But the idea of angels has really been, niggling at my brain. Oh, immediately, a child painting of a small child with. Okay. Anyway, book on angels. Oh, there's some William Blake representation right there. Been really interested in the idea of angels lately. I don't always feel like when I pray that I'm connecting to God or Jesus. And so I don't know, as a Protestant, I wasn't raised to pray to angels, but I know that the Orthodox pray to angels. I know the Catholics pray to angels. And I believe in my own personal life that, I felt some intercession, on the part of angels. So there. Then I found a copy of the Apocrypha, King James Version. Study the Apocrypha and the poetry of the King James verse. Cute. It's very clearly 90s hardback edition, still in fairly good condition. I have PDFs and EPUBs and all sorts of copies of all of these. But again, I like to pick any of these up as reference material. They do tend to move pretty well, actually, but I'm always interested in new copies of that stuff. The Priceless Pearl by Ruia Rabbani is the widow of the late guardian and world head of the Baha'i faith, who for 36 years shaped its affairs and guided its destiny. So this is what Dwight Rainn Wilson, Baha'i, ended up being. His Spirit Boom book is largely about that. Although the Priceless Pearl, although biographical in treatment, is what the author prefers to call an appraisal of life and work of the distinguished, unique, and far-visioned man, believing that we stand too near to such a towering figure to assemble at so early a day a more detailed record of his achievement. Super interested in reading this. I don't know that. I'd like to know why a hyper intellectual like Rainn Wilson, would be interested in the Baha'i faith. So it's something that I'm interested in reading through. The Visible Poor, Homelessness in the United States. I believe this is a 1990s book, if I remember correctly. 1992, Oxford University Press. This is 30 years ago. I believe homelessness has been on the rise since the 90s. Interested in seeing what it has to say. Ooh, you know what I love? I love finding things inside of books. I have a little book that I have made, and maybe we'll make a video someday, that where I put things that I find from books that I buy inside of. But I love to find new things. But this is, 30 years old at this point, and it's just something that intrigued me, and obviously something that I'm going to pick up for $2. The Martyred, a novel by Richard Kim. Tell me this guy. I paid too much for this book. Tell me this guy doesn't look like a movie star. He looks like Hollywood. That looks like Sulu, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, cancel me. Richard Kim, handsome guy, wrote this book. It was half off today. Still paid too much for it. It was a library book. But I believe this is a book about Chinese or Korean Christian. Korean Christian. Cool. Nice. Interesting. Obviously, what do you mean obviously? A Personal Account of the Mount Everest Disaster into Thin Air by John Krakauer. I know him from his other book, Into the Wild. Don't know much about this book, but it's a fairly clean. There's a little bit of a bump up here, but it's a fairly clean hardback copy. So something that I'm gonna pick up and add because it firmly falls into the category of if it never sells, it's in my personal library and it's a good copy kind of thing. And that's exactly what we're all about here at the Mustard Seed Buying Company, is growing all of the libraries, including yours. All right, this is a Heritage Club edition. It does not have the slipcase cover, so it's a little beat up. Look at these illustrations inside of it. I mean, dope. This is The Cloister and the Hearth by Reed. I don't know anything about The Cloister and the Hearth, but I know that I'm gonna read this book because these pictures make me want to read this book. This book makes me want to read this book. So let's pop it open. Charles Reed. There's a little bit of separation on the front cover, but A Tale of the Middle Ages. Oh, 1932. Wunderbar. I'm excited to read this. Let me tell you what. All right, we're getting close to the end. This is I pick these up just when they're super clean. I almost never list them. I like to give them to my nieces when they come through or when other people come through. Sometimes I get to sell them, but not very often. This is the third Mortal Instruments book. Just really clean hardback edition. I'm gonna say that word too many times. For $1 or $2, this is always going to be a buy for me. We're about to get to the hard hitters. So if you're still with me, I don't know why you would be. Native Land. Boom, boom, boom. This is not the hard hitter, but this is a really clean, cute copy of a Native American book. Or a book about Native American land. I almost always buy any Native books I come across. Why? I don't know. Just always felt an affinity for that. All right. I found its counterpart last week, or a couple of weeks ago, but did just recently come across Why Robert Kennedy Was Killed. The Story of Two Victims by Godfrey Jansen. Something that I'm going to list, but at a couple hundred pages, this is easily going to be something that if it sells, I'll read it then. If not before then, when I get back into my JFK phase. The Sagas of Icelanders. Look at this. It's paperback. It's huge. It's a big book. Really pretty. I think I paid $2 for it. I want to say that I have a penguin version of it, maybe down there. But it's this is just another large edition of it. It's really, really good condition. So it's a pickup for $2. Ooh, this one I was really happy to find. I don't have a lot in the way of Shakespeare. We got a couple of Barnes and Noble editions up here. Maybe some elsewhere. But my Shakespeare collection is notoriously poor. Shakespeare, he's coming. I think actually, now that I've gone through all my classics, all the classic poems, that Shakespeare is probably who I should go to, because I'll probably enjoy him a lot after slogging through. No, I'm not kidding. There's no slog to Dante. There's no slog to Homer. But I did come across the compact Oxford Shakespeare Complete Works. It's a hardback edition, and it's is layered. But as a reference manual, I think there's probably very few books that would be as thorough. So if there were ever a discussion about Shakespeare, or ever a paper that you had to write on Shakespeare, this would be, you know, the obvious go-to reference. So very excited to have this. Whoa! Told you there were some hits coming. We're getting hotter though. We're gonna go from there. We're gonna go from there. We're gonna get hotter on the hits. All right, this is the. If that was the Lucario of hits for books, this is the. Not quite a Charizard, but close to it. Pretty happy. I paid I paid bookstore prices for this. The thrift store had this for $16, and I did not wait for it to be half off. I paid $16 for a book at a thrift store, and I probably shouldn't have. That's how much it is on eBay. Probably could have supported an eBay author, but supported my local thrift store. Watcha! The Old Caligula, and certain antecedents. The Caligula is Finnish poetry, songs, epics, and prose. Haven't ever read it. I wrote a book once that had a character who was loosely based off of this, but it's something that I've been meaning to dive into. So to find a hardback that is mostly clean, not mostly clean, it's in pretty good condition for being an older book. Harvard Press. Huge. Definitely going to read this one. This is an add to my library and nobody else's for sure. And then the Charizard of hits. If you're still with me at 12 minutes into this video, God bless you. But I saved the best for last. This is an Aramaic English New Testament translation. I got it for $4. They list for $200 to $300 online. I don't know how much I'm gonna sell it for, or if I'm gonna sell it. But this is exactly the kind of book that I have been, waiting for years to come across, and to get it today was pretty exciting. I obviously don't read Aramaic, so let's just give you a gander at one of these pages. I don't read Aramaic at all. I just don't. Duh. So this is obviously a very heavy literary textbook that's produced for a small number of people. It's by the Natsari Press. Excited to have gotten it. Excited to have found it. But yeah, that is the sum total of my bookstore hauls for today. Ended it with a Charizard. I know that might not seem like it, but yeah, a book that regularly comps for $200. And I don't want to sell it. Anyway, love you guys.